Unit 1. Writers and Stories. Reading. Yahya Hakchi, 1905 to 1992. Yahya Hakchi was one of the pioneers of modern Egyptian literature. As well as being an important writer, he was an expert on Arab culture. Yahya Hakchi was born in 1905 in the Sayyida Zainab district of Cairo. He graduated in law and worked for a short time as a lawyer. In 1929, he began his career as a diplomat and he worked abroad for more than 20 years. The time he had spent in France, Italy, Turkey and Libya gave him experiences he later used in his writing. At the same time as he was working, Hakchi was also writing stories. His first short story, published in 1925, established him as one of the greatest short story writers of the Arab world. Hakchi always wanted to help poor and disabled people. In 1955, he wrote a collection of short stories about the poor and the disabled which won an important prize. One of his novels, The Postman, was made into a film. In 1992, he had to go to hospital after an earthquake in Cairo, but gave his bed to a poor person who he thought needed it more. Hakchi wrote in a new way about Arab society and customs in the 20th century. Hakchi was also interested in the Arabic language and he developed a new style of writing which is respected today. As well as writing his own novels and stories, Hakchi also translated Russian, French, Italian and Turkish literature into Arabic. He was a very strong believer in the power of books and he supported many young Egyptian writers. Hakchi died in 1992, but is still thought of as the father of the modern short story and the novel in Egypt.
Listening. Between interviewer, in and writer, W. Interviewer, when did you start writing? Writer, I first wrote stories and poems when I was at primary school. Interviewer, what was the first thing you wrote? Writer, when I was 7, I wrote a poem which won second prize in a national competition for school children. Interviewer, when did you start writing stories? Writer, when I was at university, I wrote short stories for a student magazine. My head was always full of ideas. While I was finishing one story, I was planning the next one. Interviewer, didn't you get confused? Writer, not really. I used to write very quickly. I finished most short stories in 2 or 3 days. As soon as I had finished one story, I started the next one. Do you still write like that? W. No, I don't write short stories now. Now I only write novels. They take much longer. So how do you write now? Do you have a fixed routine? W. Yes. I write from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, with a 10-minute break for coffee at midday. Do you use a computer? W. No, I'm old-fashioned. I use a pencil and paper. I used a computer for a few weeks, but it gave me a headache. So, first I write something by hand, then my secretary types it onto the computer. My publisher insists that I send everything as an email attachment. How many words do you usually write? W. I write 1,000 new words a day for a week, then I spend 2 or 3 days checking the week's work until I'm completely happy. I'd changed my last novel 6 times before I was happy with it. Do you show other people? No, not until a novel's almost finished. Then I give it to 2 or 3 good friends and ask them for the opinions. Do they ever tell you they don't like what you've written? Yes. Last year both of the people who read one of my books said they didn't like how my story ended. So I changed it. What did you think of the ending of your last story? When I finished it, I thought it was my best ending yet. That's very interesting. Thank you for talking to me. You're welcome. Definitions. Attachments. Something you attach to /send with an email. Competition. A situation in which people or organizations compete with each other. Custom. Something that people do in a society because it is traditional. Develop. To make a new product or idea successful. District. An area of a city or country. Establish. To achieve or give someone a respected position in society or in an organization. Law. The system of rules that people in a country or place must obey. Midday. 12 o'clock in the middle of the day. Old-fashioned. Not modern and not fashionable anymore. Pioneer. One of the first people to do something that other people will continue to develop. Publisher. Person or company that produces books, magazines, etc., and makes them available for people to buy. Routine. The usual way in which you do things. Style. A way of doing or making something that is typical of a particular person, group or period.
Vocabulary. Abroad. Achieve. Adventure. Affect. Almost. Article. Attach. Attachment. Author. Average. Belief. Believe. Believer. Block of flats. Career. Law. Lawyer. Lemons. Literature. Look. Midday. Midnight. Modern. National. Novelist. Novels. Obedience. Obedient. Obey. Old-fashioned. Coach. Collect. Collection. Competition. Confuse. Confused. Confusing. Confusion. Cultural. Culture. Custom. Customary. Deliver. Develop. Developed. Developing. Organization. Paper. Parents. Period. Pioneer. Pioneering. Poems. Poet. Poetic. Poetry. Political. Politician. Postman. Pray. Prayer. Prize. Development. Diplomacy. Diplomat. Diplomatic. Disability. Disabled. District. Earthquake. editor, effect, effective, email, establish, established, establishment, everyday, produce, product, publication, publish, publisher, remember, remind, report, respected position, retire, retired, retirement, routine, routinely, rules, Russian, everyday, experience, experiences, expert, explode, explosion, extra, fashion, fashionable, fiction, fixed, flat, graduate, graduation, hotel manager, insist, secretarial, secretary, society, sound, style, stylish, stylist, support, supporter, syllable, taste, the disabled, the poor, tour guide, traditional, train, insistence, insistent, interpret, interview, interviewee, interviewer, Italian, journalist, later, training, translate, translation, travel agent, type, typical, writer, writing, written, prepositions, idioms, expressions, a believer in, a fixed routine, a graduative, a taste of, a 10-minute break, a way of, graduate in, happy with, have a routine, have lunch, heart transplant, in the afternoon, adjust to, adventure stories, Arab culture, Arab society, at dawn, at least, at midday, at midnight, at night, attached to, be made into, black and white, both of, break his leg, change a story, compete with, in the morning, interested in, it's a pleasure, know about, obey rules, one of, people's lives, political reports, prepare lunch, primary school, return home, science fiction, send with, short stories, sound very busy, sports team, full of, give in, expert on, give up, go out, work for, write with, style of, succeed in, talk to, thank, for, the father of, the power of, create a style, available for, follow customs, cut down trees, do the homework, during the holidays. Email attachments. Enter a competition. The Arab world. Establish himself as. Take much longer. Give experiences. Give his bed to. Give me a headache. A respected position. An expert on, at, in. The 20th century. Was made into a film. Is still thought of as. Win a prize in. Arabic language. Type onto. Typical of. Look old-fashioned. Newspaper articles. Provide a model for. The lights went out. Makes made making. Plus object and infinitive. Become be. Richer. A deal. A decision. A difference to. A mistake. A name for. A plan. A poster. A speech. Do, does, did, done, doing. Research. An operation. A transplant. A test, exam. The washing up. Homework /work. A favor. Wrong. His best. Do well. Without. A suggestion. A table. An advertisement. Arrangements. With. Friends. Noise. Parts. Recommendations. Sense. The bed. Things. Up. Use of. A report on. The designing. Exercise. Repairs. Studies. A job. Customs. A sport. A survey. Things. Experiments. Duty. Judo. In office.
Language notes. Win, wins, won, whining. A medal, a race, a cup, a prize. A competition, a match, a game, an award. Gain, gains, gained, gaining. Experience, information, knowledge. Weight, height, speed. Beat, beats, beaten, beating. Someone, a team. Earn, earns, earned, earning. Money, his living. The and adjective. The poor, the rich, the disabled, the injured.